Would you go into space if you had the chance? And if so, what is the maximum amount of time you'd be willing to stay out there for?
Is that a request? Sadly, I think that there are those who would prefer that I would stay on Earth for the time. So I am the head of the Space Council. I love space. And so let's talk about space. I think everyone here recognizes how extraordinary space is. Whether it is satellites that orbit the Earth, humans that land on the moon, or telescopes that peer into the furthest reaches of the universe. Space is exciting. It spurs our imaginations, and it forces us to ask big questions. Space, it affects us all, and it connects us all. The Artemis program is the beginning of the next era of what we have a history and a tradition of doing, of providing vision and inspiring innovation in a way that is going to benefit all mankind and womankind. And so it will include the first woman and person of color. So much of space exploration is about science, it's about research, it's about testing our ideas of what is possible and then seeing if it can come true. The diversity of thought that goes into that, the more diverse, the better the outcome will be. So it's very exciting, and I have to tell you that Space Force, NASA, really have made a real solid commitment to diversity among who is getting into the program, who's traveling to space, and I think we can all be very proud of that. The opportunity of space must guide our work in the 21st century in terms of what course we will chart for the work that happens here on Earth that will then maximize the opportunities in space.
Houston, I've lost visual, Dr. Stone.
Which brings me to May 30th, 2020. Bob and Doug returned to the Kennedy Space Center. They suited up, they waved to their families, and they rode an elevator up nearly 20 stories. They strapped in to their seats and waited as the tanks beneath them filled with tens of thousands of gallons of fuel. And then they launched. Yeah, they did. Literally rocket scientists. So 139 years ago, in this city of Oakland, we built the first space observatory with funds that were provided by a local businessman. The observatory brought basically an 8-inch telescope right here. And there was extreme excitement. We've looked at the newspaper accounts of the day. Extreme excitement about what this innovation meant. And think about it. So when we went before, indeed with pride, we planted our flag. It was rather temporary, that visit. With the Artemis program, it's not just to visit, but to live and to work on the moon. Think about that. When the Artemis program launches, this is with the goal of humans being able to live and work on the moon, and with the next step being to travel to Mars. So it is very exciting, and what today was a test. It was a test of pure innovation, inspired by the possibilities of what we know can be. So our nation is entering a new era. And that new era includes considering and thinking about our exploration in space and how we use space, and are we prepared for the possibilities, but also the challenges. To that end, we understand that we've got to update the rules, because they're just simply outdated. We know that we really are quite behind in terms of maximizing our collective understanding about how we will engage on the technology of today and what we can quickly and easily predict will be the technology over the next decades. It is critical that we work together to understand where we are, to recognize and have the courage to speak truth about what is obsolete, and then to partner to ensure that we are speaking the same language with the same motivation, inspired by the opportunity of it all, but then doing the work of updating how we have been talking and thinking about our exploration in space. Today, the business of our work is for the Council to report on the work that has occurred since our last meeting across these areas. We will today also discuss the work yet ahead, the work we must still do to continue to move forward. In particular, the work we must do to build a skilled technical space workforce. Thank you all for the work and the thought that you've all put into this issue. There's still more work to be done, but the theme of this panel and this discussion has been collaboration. And so thank you, panelists, for your work and for your contribution to this discussion and how we think about this issue. And council members, thank all of you. A lot of our work is focused on what we must do to develop a clear and predictable framework of rules that are the function and the product of, again, collaboration. So this is work that will continue, and it is an excellent reason why we have the National Space Council to continue this kind of collaborative work and working together to coordinate as well within the United States government. With the exploration of space being defined in the 20th century, we know that living in this century, we must think about where we now stand and where we must go. The United States, you see, is the flag of choice for space activities. It is the flag of choice. And with that comes great opportunity, but also great responsibility. And with that, I'll end with the story. So last month, President Biden and I unveiled the first photographs taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. I think we were all just in awe. I was sharing with some of the friends that when I first saw those photographs, I had a very intellectual response, which was, wow.